And welcome everyone to Tuesday, Astrology and Alchemy with Paranormal Sarah and Matthew Slozier. It is November 29th. We're going to be taking it to the end of December and into the beginning, the end of November. And what year are we in, Matt? I don't even know. Where are we? How is the end of your November been?
It's been good. This is like been. It feels to me almost like a lost month. It's just
Last year.
I've been fighting this cold almost the whole entire month, and just trying to get things set up for the holidays. And so, hasn't been too bad though. Do you have snow up there yet?
You know, sometimes it's really nice to be on the northern tip of the state versus the southern tip, because sometimes it's weird. Minneapolis seems to get a real big chunk of the bad weather sometimes. And then other times it like goes up and towards us. And it hit Minneapolis today. So I got to watch and like listen to a bunch of the dispatch calls and hear a bunch of the chaos. But I didn't have to be in it. So thank God.
Nice.
I really don't like it. How about you? Do you have snow where you've got a lot of snow, don't you?
No. It was 65 today.
What?
It's weird. What? Like I said, it's weird. You got to deal with swings. You have to deal with like waking up in the 20s and then having to go up to like the 60s.
The end of the world as we know it.
I don't like. I like this time of year. I mean, this is more November here is more like October back home in Pennsylvania, which was my favorite month. But I don't like the having to do like constant wardrobe changes to adjust to the weather. And I don't layer. I hate layering. I hate when when I do travel to Minnesota, you just need to layer. It's like I hate it. Like you're freezing outside, then you go inside, it's really warm. You're taking stuff off, you're putting stuff on. I'm all about minimal steps. I like to just no coat, just inside, outside, just everything the same.
It's the layering, because I have sometimes, and I share this with my girlfriends that are from Minnesota, have always been Minnesotans, and they're like, oh, just, put on your long johns, you'll be fine. No, because the layering, it's that layering that I begin to feel claustrophobic, like waking up in the summer with no air conditioning and your sheets are stuck to you. Like it takes me back to like, just a space I don't like when you're hot out in the snow, especially like, I hate to say this, and I'm in relatively great shape, but I can go outside with my kids. We have a huge snow hill, like 450 some feet, like hill. And when it's covered in 6 feet of snow, because sometimes it gets that tall and you're climbing in it and it's nipple high. And you just floof over and you just think, I'm going to die here. I'm going to die right here. And no one will find me. And I'll just be frozen like Walt Disney. And maybe it'll be peaceful. You start wondering if you'd rather freeze or be in the heat. And then you just kind of, I don't know, I start thinking of weird HBO movies I watched as a child where that family was stuck on that island in the snow and they lost their feet. I start having panic and everything else. It's just not fun. Anyway, welcome to the snow. I hope you like it more than me. But anyway, we're so glad to have you guys here. All of you joining us. Dolly, Field Guy, Carson, Heather, Rebel. We've got all sorts of people. We've got Mary. We've got Jessica. We've got people from New England. We got people from Australia, from all over. And we really appreciate it when you guys tune in. So it's good to have you tonight. We are, I'm not going to lie to you. I always cheat a little bit. And I have my astrological thing. I'm all the way down to December 22nd that I've not been doing my meditation. Everything up until the 22nd, I already know what's going to happen. So if you guys are joining us for the very first time, get your pen and paper out, because this is that opportunity to kind of work your intuition. This next week and month, really, there's some really cool stuff that's going to go down astrologically. And it really does. It's heavy. It's heavy, guys.
I actually try to take notes this time. So if I'm not making eye contact the whole time, that's why. Because I never take notes. And I'm always like,
right.
What I said would happen.
Well, and we're trying to be better. Well, tomorrow. So let's start there, because tomorrow, November 30th, it's the very last day of the month. And only one thing is happening, and it's a relatively, subtle, calm, not a huge deal. As you guys know, if you've tuned in before, Matt kind of is always like meh, 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 on this kind of stuff. And as it should be, because it's not a huge deal. But how is it going to affect you? Hey, let us not have a huge deal at the end of the month, right? It's been kind of a crazy month anyway. So November ends tomorrow with the quarter moon. You're going to look up at it. It's gaining into the full, and it's a quarter moon in Pisces. So when you think of Pisces energy, feeling the feels, what do you think about that?
Well, this is a Sagittarius cycle, and so quarter. So you just kind of go through it. I always do it just kind of as it builds to the different quarters. So Pisces is introspective, kind of deep, very. It's the last sign of the cycle. So I will view this as if this month cycle is all about exploration and what do you want to learn, what do you want to do, where do you want to go. This is the first kind of internal inventory of what do you have going for you, what do you need to work on, and making that assessment as to what we're going to go after and do.
I like that. The gain and the loss, the assessment, not even so much like an end or a quarterly, but almost like an assessment, because of this kind of a new beginning. New beginnings have happened this month in this little lunar chunk. So I like that you said the emotional, like introspection, intuition, inventory, all these things. I think of a gain loss. Like instead of a pro con, I think of a gain loss. What do we got for the last month of the year for your gain loss inventory? And I had put in my shadow work, this is really good boundary building with emotions, because as we often talk in the Gypsy tribe, and Matt and I, when we're doing work with people like astrologically with birth charts or readings, you guys, this water, if you have Pisces right here, building boundaries between the in and the out is going to be really important, and doing the boundaries with feelings. So instead of being, shy or avoidant or angry or irritable, you're going to have different feelings take a step forward to be kind of the wall. That would be nice. It would be nice if we could all do that. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a hopeful thing, right? Emotions. We're not going to speak lowly of the Pisces, the fish in the water, but I do think of a scrying ball. I think of water magic. I think of checking in with your emotions, and probably I might actually try and watch What Dreams May Come. I've not been able to do it since having children. You know the one I'm talking about with Robin Williams? Man, I don't think I can get to the funeral scene. I get to about the little coffins, and then I shut it off. I'm like, this is supposed to be entertainment. Click. But it's a really cathartic movie. I think it might be good.
That's how my wife got with like horror movies. Like she won't watch horror movies after she had kids.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like the gore or the,
I don't know,
sudden, maybe we have empathy.
I don't like seeing anything bad happen to, like, there's a couple of movies where I can think back to, like the actress or actor resembled one of my kids, and so like I don't like that movie because it's kind of, it was a little too close, but
well, my youngest loves horror movies, so we're in that, like, I have to rewatch it to try and determine if it's okay for an 8-9-year-old, because in your mind you're like, it's a new world, and like I want to be cool but not that cool, but like let me just watch it, and then you're like, holy shit, this is a lot worse than I thought it was. And not even the gore sometimes, like there's a lot of sex scenes in a lot of the horror movies. There's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of, I almost feel like if I could go back into Hollywood, go back into like I'm in there, like a past life is speaking through me or something. If I went back to Hollywood, I would try and maybe do horror without any of those things. There doesn't have to be sex or even gore or crazy loud music or any of that thrashing about for it to be quite scary. And I think
the
that's
best ones are when it leaves it to your imagination. Don't fill in the blanks.
And I love when you do your Sunday Night Dead shows and are like mentioning horror movies that are more psychological in nature. And I've actually been able to learn and pick up on a few extra movies that I didn't even know existed. And just, It's such a cool psychological thing, the horror thing. Anyway, so that's Wednesday. That's the end of November. It's just a Pisces moon. It's going to be a little emotional, a good time to reflect. And then Thursday, OMG, Thursday, the beginning of December. Yeah, go ahead and just put 1, 2, 3, 4 dots down on your piece of paper for the 4 big movements. I mean, they are relatively big movements happening on December 1st, Thursday. So let's go into the very first one. Venus in Sagittarius, and it is opposite Mars in Gemini. So that's the very first thing happening. What do you think when you hear that?
Okay, so opposite is tension, but they kind of complete each other. So there's little like medallions that like, you know, couples in like high school would wear, like our coins match together. It's kind of that thing. So Venus, you know, romance, exploration. This is exploratory. I think I said last week, you know, I think it was on Monday, look for people putting feelers out at a, you know, strange feelers coming out of nowhere kind of thing. This is having tension with action in Gemini, is very sociable. It's that, again, the two-faced or two-sided. I don't mean that in the like negative way. It's kind of like, which way do I go kind of thing. So you're not sure exactly where Gemini stands because they're kind of waffling back and forth to figure stuff out. So long way for me to say I view this as tension between, are they a friend or are they something more? Do I pursue it or do I keep it in the friend zone type energy tomorrow? Only applies if you're in that kind of relationship space, but that's where I think this one is. So for the folks that always don't get happy when we talk like romance stuff, sorry.
Yeah.
I think this is a 100% romantic position.
All of the, and I think, you know, I'll kind of disclose a little bit for myself and how I can relate to that is, for example, this year for me has been a lot of my attachments to Kansas City and my family there, where I've gained some more family and closeness, you know, my cousin and uncles that have stepped forward to help me when I've really needed some extra support that I thought, or that you lose touch base with as you get older. And then there's also those, you know, people that are very close to you, siblings, step parents that you are proximally close to, helping them. You know, they're going through, you know, strokes and health issues and things, and you're there physically. But then the love begins to dissipate because of the stress or the things that are happening, where this tension of relationships throughout this last year of, I feel very close to you, like with my dad and his terminal illness, like I want to be very close to him and love him and polish those sentimental spaces, but it's also very difficult to be in those spaces and go fishing and do things, because then he's reflecting on like, well, I wish I would have done more of this with you. And like, oh, it makes your throat tighten, where it's like, oh my God. I feel that in this month of December with the tension and reflection of harmony and deep emotions. So for those of you out there who have felt those, whether it be romantic or friendship or family, those chords, like shaman chords, they're being pulled like a Stretch Armstrong. And depending on what it's made out of, the matter, the physical matter, I would look to Matt and this kind of like chemical makeup. Is it going to last? Is it going to endure? What's going to happen? Ooh. And that's only the first dot. Second dot. And
well, I'm going to add, we're going to need, and I had a dog here that needed comfort. Put them back. Like this is good for initiating things. You're going to want to see some earth come out. And this can actually be in the individual's chart, or, you know, for folks that don't know, there's a synastry chart where you look at the combinations of two people in a couple. You can do a Davidson chart that actually looks at like the relationship itself as opposed to the individuals. These are all different things. But I would say high level, this might be that initiation or that kind of push-pull of friend zone, not friend zone. If it moves out of friend zone, you're going to want to see some earth stuff come later because there's stability there. Air initiates all kinds of stuff, but air is not lasting. It just
What'd you
right
say?
by.
Yeah, it's the argument you had a week ago. Man, at the time you were really fired up about it, but now it's different. The air has settled. Air settles differently, just as quickly as a whisper. So, and I love what you said because you're being very foreshadowing, Yeshua, about how this week unfolds. And so add that dot on your piece of paper, guys, for this is just Thursday, December 1st. The second movement astrologically happening that day of the 4 is that Mercury, communication, will also be in Sagittarius, that leading fire sign, and that it's squaring off with Neptune in Pisces, the last of its retrograde.
I don't like where I'm going to go with this. I am
apologizing. I know.
Because Mercury's communication. We already talked about Sagittarius being the explorer. We've talked for a long time. Sarah's favorite combination: Neptune, deception, dreams, things aren't the way they seem. Think like mirages, things along that line. And introspective, emotional Pisces. Unlike Scorpio, that is intense, focused water. Pisces is kind of water all over the place. So, and square is really the one kind of is in the way of the other. They're pushing against each other. So I see this as, and I hate saying this because we just talked the last aspect about that friend zone, not friend zone. So Mercury is now we're going to do some exploratory communication, and it's going to get more or less smacked down by emotional dreams and delusions about the situation. So I see this as there's going to be a decent amount of people that decide to make a move one way or the other from that other aspect, and their read on the relationship is totally wrong, and they're going to get smacked down.
Right. I want to say that because I feel like my spirit guides were like, put it in bold, write it down, underline it. Moves will be made. They will be read wrong.
Yep.
This is Thursday.
Yep.
And it's not the only thing that happens. You had that Venus, that two sides of the coin kind of tension happening. Then you had the Neptune and Pisces kind of space going off with the communication. Oh, no. Oh, yes. The universe still is going to hand it to us December 1st, starting out the month real heavy-handed with the third movement of the day. Don't laugh! Don't laugh! George Carlin stepping out from the heavens and says, Venus is in Sagittarius, so it's that continued fire, that beauty, sex, money, give it to me, baby. I think a Goodfellas. In Sagittarius, the scene where they're shooting everybody because it's on fire. Sextile, Saturn and Aquarius. We know what this means. We've watched this all.
Yeah, I guess this isn't as bad as I initially thought. Once I saw Saturn, I was like, oh, crap. It's funny. I'll say like December 1st is the anniversary of my meeting my wife. And now looking at all these aspects, I'm like, this would not be. I'm glad these weren't the aspects in play way back then. Yeah. All right. So sextile is like synergy. So again, we have that romantic exploration. Saturn is rules. It's dad. It's restrictions. But Aquarius is the rebel. So kind of change the rules and things. So where I was initially negative on this when I saw the Saturn kind of going on the same theme, I'm seeing this kind of as a sure, why not? So maybe for half the people are going to get that Neptune thing, smack them down, and the other half people are going to be like, hey, this isn't how I typically do things, but sure, why not?
Yeah. Someone comes in and says, did you wash your pants in Windex? And you say, why? I say, because I can see myself in your pants. And you go, I'll give it to you. Like, it's not going to be an expected thing. There is going to be some romantic vibe or like, hey, want to give me $2,000 and let's go to the casino because I'm feeling lucky? You know what? What? Who even cares anymore? What is money? And you go. Whereas, like you said, a lot of the people are going to be slowly getting burned too, because some people are going to be calling up the phone. They're going to be like, it's the end of the year and I don't want to wait until New Year. And like Mauna Loa is exploding and like all this stuff's happening around me. And like, I love you. And you're going to be like, doing maybe a Chevy Chase moment. Like, shh, shh. I don't know. There's going to be some interesting vibes.
I feel like those Vegas vibes. I feel like it's going to be, it could go either way.
Vegas. I got to put that. And I think of Hunter S. Thompson.
Maybe even one's related to the other. Maybe they initially get smacked down, and then as this moves into this piece, it's like, you know what? Why not?
Whatever. And then don't forget, one more thing is going to happen that evening. And that really begins to tell us as we kind of look at this, psychically. I use my Dana Carvey fingers because I really, and you guys know if you joined us, it's very difficult to say that this is psychic intuition and that I'm grasping upon things that just linger in my own unconscious. Nah, this is science, and we're looking up and we're seeing the stars, and it's very predictable, and it's like a season, it's like a pattern, it's like a cycle. And we know how things happen. So that night, the last thing that's going to be happening on Thursday, December 1st, let's top it off with a little of that waxing moon building into the full, going into Aries. A little fire. A little fire.
And this is emotional. This is, since moon is emotion, this is emotional gasoline on the fire, because now all the emotional spaces are going to get into impulsive, not thinking things through, just acting. And so you have all that other stuff we talked about that'll happen on Thursday. And then we just add on to that people are going to be emotionally impulsive and not thinking things through and just kind of reacting more or less. Yes, everyone gets freaked out by my light behind me. It's like a fire.
It's meant to do that.
My whole office now it's got gargoyles and torches, and
you should just go with it. You should just go with it one of these days and be like, what? I don't know. This room has been hot. No.
I write deep, dark poetry about the darkness of my soul in my dark office.
Don't do that. Don't do a schmack-schmackins. Don't do a schmack-schmackins.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so this is Thursday, and that's all that's going to happen on that day. As Pepper says, please no one get pregnant if you don't mean to be. And Katie and Heather and Carson and Ruth and everybody, man, how are you going to handle it? What predictions do you see just for this? Just the opening of December. Woo! What predictions do you see?
I don't see anything big. I don't see anything big news-wise. What I do see is, this will be interesting. Look in your own personal lives. Whether it's, if you have kids, that younger or whatever, or just, if you're in any kind of gossip, I think all kinds of relationship stuff is going to start blowing up on Thursday.
Yeah. I don't like it.
I can't believe I thought we were best friends. And he just asked me out. It's just, it's where other people are going to be like, I never noticed them until Thursday. What I always wanted was right in front of me. It's going to be, you're going to have those two extremes.
You know that my spirit guides are usually showing me things in movies. And this is kind of an obscure movie that maybe most people haven't seen, but it's called Fanboys. That's kind of a Star Wars fan flick. And there's a scene where the two nerdy guys in that movie have taken two escorts back to their rooms. They didn't know they were escorts. And then suddenly they realized they're escorts. And the one guy's like, well, how much do we owe you? And she's like, $1,000. And he's like, well, we're hookers and you owe us $1,000. And they like stand there and are trying to figure out how they're going to do this. And man, I wonder what kind of weird affairs or Snapchat snafus are going to show themselves on Thursday.
I feel like that Michael Jackson meme from Thriller with the popcorn. That'll just be.
Yeah, stay in, put a Snuggie on, just kind of relax. Tell people that you're just laying low.
I wish everyone well. I wish everyone well. I'm not wishing anything bad to happen, but no. I will be entertained by this.
Yeah, we'll be unscathed. We're putting up our boundaries because we're all here doing it. We're doing the prep work right now. We know better. We are not going to answer that call. So Friday, that kind of begins to give us this panoramic. We step out and we're like, okay, Sarah, how much crazy stuff is going to happen? Well, one thing happens on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, 1 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday. So it's kind of a heavy week as far as a lot of movements happening astrologically. There's a lot of stuff going on. So Friday, the one thing that's going to be happening, the only thing that's going to be happening is that waxing moon in Aries, very important, it's building, is going to be trine the sun in Sagittarius. So fire on fire with fire.
So your inner world having synergy with your outer world.
December 2nd, Friday.
Yeah. Emotional impulsiveness aligning with outwardly wanting to try and do something new. So yeah, you're going to see people doing new things on Friday that aren't well thought out. And since it's a Friday, later in the night, as people will add alcohol to that energy, you'll see people doing this is not a good night. I'm going to predict this is not a good night for if you work in an ER.
No.
There's going to be people doing stupid crap will be done on Friday night.
That Aries, man, it's bold, it's passionate, and letting that ego go, craving newness, but without having done the research. Think safety.
I think I've used this before, but I feel like Sagittarius is that giant, just, and this is the energy right now, is just do it. And then Aries is just act, don't think. And I'm not calling them dumb. I'm just saying it's impulsive. It's go. And so you're getting edged on to do something. And then you have this nudge to, don't think about things, just do. And you're just going to see people doing impulsive stuff. And
I want
strategic, calculated Capricorn, my view is that won't work well.
No. And ideally, I think when I'm looking at the application of this, I think, okay, you've got kind of these fires and fires and fires. And I find myself just meditating on fire safety. And, one of the things with fire safety is, what kind of fire is it? What do you mean? What kind of fire is it? Well, that matters, because if you go putting water on a grease fire, you're going to end up a lot worse off than you thought. A fire is not just a fire. What kind of fire is going to be happening in and around your life? And when we say that, it's kind of this opportunity to already just step back on paper and write down what that's going to be personally for you. Like, I know right now we're trying to find, long-term care for my stepmom. She's struggling with dementia, and we're trying to find good placement. And the healthcare system is just a piece of crap. And like, my dad's struggling with a fever. And like, some of the fires that are burning, they're emotional fire. That's water. I don't need to add more emotions to that. I don't need to call up my family members and go, help me. That would be the worst thing I could do, because then that floods more emotion into a very emotional space. So instead, I'm going to look at it differently, because I know what kind of fire is happening in my life. So I'm wondering, what kind of fire is happening in a sociological space when we are doing our predictions right here, Matt? What's going to happen on Friday?
I was just going to say, I'm taking this in a bad way, but I'm thinking, and you'll know from what you do, you'll get more insight in this. Coming on the heels of the relationship stuff we were talking about on Thursday, and people possibly getting hopes dashed, things like that. I see things from anywhere from somebody getting mad and putting their hand through a window to people possibly impulsively doing far worse stuff. So I guess just if you know somebody that had a traumatic thing happen on Thursday, really keep an eye on them and have them breathe, relax, because there'll be that nudge of just do it. And that can be, just do it, something really bad. So I'm not saying it's all going to be that way, but I'm just kind of connecting the dots here. And, if a relationship dream gets absolutely dashed, and then you have this impulsive energy on a Friday,
with 800 people because I'm so emotionally upset.
We're going to be out doing stuff anyway. So you say, oh, I'm so upset, let's just go out. And, just see. Yeah. I see there'll be something, I do the podcast on all these like missing persons and stuff like that. There's going to be some weird, unsolved mystery story that's going to be, December 2nd, 2022 because some
There is.
person's going to vanish and they're never going to know what happened. Like that guy, I don't know if you heard about this one. There's that one guy that went into the bar, and from what they can tell, that with all the security cameras and stuff, he never left. But it's been like 15 years. I don't know. There's all these weird theories. Did he go out like a service? Did he go out a service entrance, pass out, and fall on like a construction site and get buried and cut? Like there's all these weird theories about the guy, but they have all the security cameras. They have him at Lacoste, and he goes in. Everybody else leaves. He never
just vanishes like a portal.
There's all kinds
like
of weird
an alien
theories.
abduction.
They chopped him up and
yeah, they put him in the barbecue sauce.
There's all kinds of weird theories about it. But I'm saying it's gonna be like one of those weird stories. It's gonna end up breaking from. We won't hear about it for a while, but yeah, it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, it'll pop up in 7 months from now, and it'll be like, on December 2nd, it would seem that the Jeffrey Dahmer was taking people back to his apartment for lobotomies, and it'll be like, what? And it was happening. Don't get it in an Uber. No, I'm not saying that. But what we are saying is that I would follow your intuition, because that nudge, when you say that nudges today, people will be nudged. That's like that Gavin Rosdale character, Was he playing Beelzebub? Yeah. Beelzebub. Playing the referee. Do it. Like you mentioned. Go ahead. It's careful. Careful. And careful, America. Careful what you do. That's fire magic. What you do, your behaviors. Now, Saturday, 2 things happen. And man, this is why when I was doing these meditations earlier and writing this down, I felt like I had Tourette's, because Saturday, December 3rd, weird things happen. Oh, Katie said the human centipede. Dang! Yeah, stuff like that. Human alien exchange weirdness. Yeah. But who knows? Saturday, we're going to find out. 2 things happen. The first thing, and we kind of need this, but I'm also scared of this. You're going to see why. Neptune goes direct. Neptune is now direct in Pisces. It's no longer in retrograde as of this Saturday, December 3rd. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're still going to have overdoses and crazy dreaming and delusions and wildness on the Neptune and Pisces spaces? Yes. But it's different now. How is it different? What's the difference between the retrograde and going direct?
I'm curious your thoughts on this one, because I actually struggle with this one a little bit, because if Neptune's kind of deception and not seeing things right anyway, then if you have it retrograde, that's actually being messed up more. I don't know, I could go either way on this, but I guess I kind of feel like, not only do you see things the wrong way, but you're almost like doubling down on seeing it the wrong way. Like, not only are you delusional, but you're even interpreting the delusion the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like delusion squared.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always thinking of the pacing the train analogy of, like, you're on the highway and you're pacing the train and you guys are going the same direction, and you do the toot toot thing and he looks over and does a toot toot thing and you're like, okay, cool, but then you kind of gas it because you need to get where you're going, and now suddenly that train, and you guys are still going in the same direction, but it's behind you. So if you're going to see where the train is at, even though you're still going the same direction, you know where it's at, it's behind you, the momentum, you can see the track still there, but to see it, to actually see it, and to know that you see it, you either have to do some indirect mirror work, or you have to stop what you're doing or turn your space and look backwards. So if it's retrograde, it's backwards. And to be able to have access to it requires, and I almost think of depression. I think of the overdosing. I think of Neptune and Pisces, where people are turning to self-medication and then dying because of the drug. When it wasn't the drug, it was that they watched their sister fall down the stairs and die when they were 7. It was, it wasn't the heroin. It was that their dad left them and they've been lonely their entire life. Like these indirect delusional deaths. Whereas now that Neptune is direct in Pisces, it's like, yeah, no, I'm just really depressed. I have been for 22 years. I've taken medication for it, and I'm finally to the point where I'm not going to be on medication for it. And I've done therapy and nothing's really working. And so if this doesn't work, then I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, it's almost a manic lost. It's a forward marching lost. It's a person in the desert saying, you know what? There's no going back, but I've got to just march towards the oasis because I've drank all the water. I just got to keep moving forward, but it's manic. It's a mirage in the desert. You're kind of chasing something that you aren't sure is going to be in front of you. Because like the train that you look back that you know you're pacing retrograde, at least you know it's there. But what's in front of you? That's kind of a different kind of mental health. That's why I don't like to work with elderly people. And it's why I've struggled working with my dad in his spaces when he's like, well, I just don't like my days anymore. I'm real sick. I'd rather be dead. And it's like, dang, when you're on dialysis and you're sick and you're puking and you're on cancer meds, it's like, yeah. And you hate to agree with someone, but that's seems to be because you don't know the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that relies on hope. If you, coming out of Neptune and Pisces, have been a heroin addict for the last 17 years, you may not be that hopeful.
I think of, I hate the scene, but it's a nice gut punch. If anybody saw the movie The Mist, which is foggy. So we've got the Neptune thing, and they only have a couple bullets and they're out of gas. And they're like, okay, well, I'll just kill you all. And so he kills his kid and, everybody else in the car, and then gets out of the car, and the rescuers arrive like a minute later.
I hate that.
So sorry if I did the spoiler if you didn't see it. That's like the gut punch. But there's like the two things, like, you were wrong twice. At least now with it going direct, you'll be wrong once.
Isn't that? And this is Saturday after this crazy Thursday, Friday. And it's not the only thing that's going to happen on Saturday either. So I'm going to give you, I'm not laughing at us. I'm laughing with us. What happens on Saturday night? Oh no. The moon still waxing in Aries. So it's building towards that full moon. Now it's in the constellation of Aries, fiery bull. And it's trine that Venus in Sagittarius. Still people fuming those romance things. Gonna just tug on those heartstrings a little more. How's it gonna go?
Is it, you think I would know this, but since my kids were so premature because they were quads, is it 38 weeks or 40 weeks?
40.
Normal gestation. 40? So go out like 40 weeks from this week. So I'm thinking there's going to be a little mini baby boom this week with all these energies going on. This is so again, this is emotions and impulsive, not really thinking things through, having great synergy with romantic vibes of wanting to explore and try new things. So on a Saturday, right? Not Friday.
Yep, Saturday night.
Yeah, this is hookup. This is hookup energy.
What are you hooking?
Coming on the heel of all the other stuff we talked about, that's all this impulsive emotion and romantic exploration and delusions. Yeah, this is all.
I'm calling it hookup and high fidelity almost because that space of the Neptune and Pisces going direct and how John Cusack's character is like, oh, it wasn't me this whole time. It was them. And like realizing all these years that these heartbreaks are like, oh my gosh, now it's that. But then he finally gets, ends up getting back with the ex that he was really smitten with, but not because she was longing for him or because he'd come to some clarity or great transformation, but because that her dad died and she was just wanting to feel something. Like, oh. It's kind of an interesting space of like how things happen, how people's relationships really go down in a human space. And that's going to be this Saturday night. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a sexual thing. It could be you and family members, you and coworkers, you and the estranged siblings that you've, been struggling with, or your neighbor that's been cutting your tree. Like it could be these relationships that have been brewing, bubbling, fiery. There's going to be like, you know what the hell?
But I'll add, when I see impulsive emotion combining with romantic exploration, I see hookup energy.
So the magic space would, of course, be protection, And we're not just, meaning like Trojans, but like actual protection, because knowing that people are going to be overstepping boundaries. So if they didn't make good boundaries and now you've got all this chaos brewing and bubbling, the jokers of the world are out catching things ablaze. And if they've not kept their things safe and are like, well, fuck it, I guess there goes my whole life. So I guess whatever, I'll just join the fucking Black Parade. Be careful of that momentum, because, if people come to you on a Saturday night and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's Johnny. He finally is coming. He loves me. It's happening. No, he's there because he needs a place to stay because his house just caught fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't put yourself this week. Don't put yourself in vulnerable situations,
Good. Yeah.
Like if there's somebody that, or just even if it can get the wrong perception, the wrong idea, all these kind of things, just be very bland and safe this week.
Safety, comfort, strong.
You'll thank yourself when all this energy clears and you're like, oh my God, what the hell happened?
Yeah. What a week. I don't know. I was having chicken noodle soup. I
was home watching Netflix and told everyone I was sick.
I was preparing for the month, cleaning my house, getting the things ready, doing the Christmas shopping. I wasn't out shopping. I was doing things at home. So all this crazy kind of wild west energy right up until Saturday night. Then we go Sunday. Sunday morning, two things happen on Sunday, guys. So put 2 dots down on your paper if you're doing predictions and kind of scratching out your week. The first thing, there she is again. Venus and Sagittarius. Oh. But now it's squaring off with
it's all the
Neptune
same combos too.
And it's the same
this is romance coming into that
over and
coming into that delusion of getting your dream smacked down. So
but your house is burned down. That's why you're here.
So again, I hate that I'm like stuck on this theme, but first of all, to field guys, little comment there, which I won't say yes or no for anyone in particular, but I will say that the energies are in your favor, sir. So yeah, this is so the impulsive thing happens and somebody's thinking, wow, like I finally met the love of my life. We're going to run off and get married together. And you wake up the next morning and they're gone and you never hear from them. It's that kind of energy again. Not saying that's specifically what's going to happen, but that's an analogy, an example of it. So all that delusion and, all that impulsiveness from Saturday is going to get a kind of a smackdown of reality on Sunday when Venus runs smack into Neptune's delusions.
Mm-hmm. This is that walk of shame versus a prideful moment. Sunday morning, there is going to be 2 types of people after the weekend that will have been had. And so I kind of am hearing Alanis Morissette's Ironic, in a traffic jam when you're already late. It's no smoking sign on your cigarette break. It's all these little things are going to happen all week long. This is really going to be an interesting thing. And on Sunday morning, it's waking up alone. It's August rush. It's not really intended to be hurtful. It's not. The momentum is that people are on a ride.
And it's all the same kind of themes, because what we're really doing is it's the same 3 or 4 planets all getting different combos with each other. So it's basically the same stuff, just rehashing every couple of days here.
And then I see it as a nation. I see it as a wanting the romance, wanting the holidays, wanting to spend the money. But we're going to be going into a Great Depression. We're going to be really struggling with some of the news articles. And people are like, you know what? Babies are burning. Major fashion industries are worshiping the devil. Just presidents aren't real. Votes don't matter. Just whatever. Spend all the money. This may not be the best. These may not be the best things, but use it, watch it, navigate it. Because one more thing is going to happen on Sunday. Oh, well, there's the first little anchor, little buoy in the water.
Finally, you get some earth.
Yeah. Sunday evening, the moon moves out of Aries and into Taurus. It's still building. So it's still building in Taurus, So that's maybe you reaching out, hey, where'd you go? What happened? What about last night? And you focus yourself emotionally, you get secure and stable. Okay, I'm just going to call. I'm just going to be present. I'm just going to call. And this is that Taurus moment of stubborn, stable. How do you see it panning out?
I see this is good, not great. It's good in that at least we're cutting off the impulsive stuff. But I see in context of what's just led up to the moon going into Taurus, I always say Taurus is stable and indulgent. And in this case, if you're moving into this stable, indulgent space right after a whole lot of chaos, I feel people are going to tend to hit that indulgent part, whether that's this has been such a rough week, I'm going to eat a gallon of ice cream or, drink a case of beer, or it's going to be because it's emotional and it's in that stable indulgence. I almost feel it's like whatever gives you comfort that maybe isn't good for you, but it's going to feel comforting is where people are going to go. So not a good day for diets.
And I was just going to share, if you're someone who's looking into losing weight, getting healthy, toning your body, strengthening your flexibility, doing those things in healthy habits for like growth, get on it this week with doing more. You know what? I'm just going to dance. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go skinny dip, not anywhere, public. Or I'm just going to go to the hotel and go sit in the sauna. I'm going to do something I don't usually do, but that I can do that is moving towards my goal. Be willing to be impulsive in that way so that on Sunday evening, when everyone else is just like freaking out and trying to find refuge, that you're like, wow, I actually am proud of myself. I'm not having a walk of shame. I'm having a little bit of pride. And I might, be tempted to go get a little moose cup from Aldi's that are $3.29 and are divine. But instead, I'm going to keep this momentum for myself because I'm proud of myself. So I'm just going to have some ice water and, go take a nice walk. Look at the sunset. Keep your momentum.
I'm going to make one other side prediction. Venus, in addition to, and I hope I'm way wrong on this one. In addition to romance, is also money. So this could also indicate or give hints towards really, really, really bad economic stuff happening Thursday through Sunday that could really rattle people. So keep an eye on the markets. I always say on these things, unless you're going to absolutely lose everything, don't panic. Usually panic kills you on these kind of things. But this could be, in addition to the romantic piece, there could be a lot of financial chaos. So really watch the market Thursday, Friday.
Watch your spending. Watch, if you're coming into money, as money is going to be really flowing this month. There's actually an increase in financial things, but it's not going to be long-term or permanent unless you plant it. So people are going to be like, I've got $3,000. I'm going to go buy something. And like they go ruffling off to the store, and it's going to be like, well, the next 3 months you have nothing. So be very careful. If you don't invest it, it won't grow. That's going to be very key this month. Monday. Only one thing is happening on Monday, but then Tuesday surprises us with 3 quick movements. So we'll finish strong here and quick. Sorry, guys. We won't rush, but we will be efficient. Monday, starting the week. Wow. After all that craziness, whoa. It's going to be the moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So Earth. Good. How do we feel about it?
So we already covered what moon in Taurus is. Uranus is the curveball, the rebel, the doing things different, also unstable, indulgent. So I always say this is, I'm going to rebel by not doing what I normally do. So it's kind of rebel by staying home and just so. Again, I kind of go along with what I said with the moon in Taurus is just, this is just doubles down on the energy of screw it. This was a really rough week. Staying in bed and watching Netflix, eating ice cream, doing something. People are going to really indulge in comfort. Even to the point of, I think the Uranus point, it can even be to the point of where they might shrug off responsibilities and things they would normally do. So I could see people calling out of work, kind of mental health day, people you depend on for things like friends and stuff, letting you down because I just couldn't do it today. I just couldn't get out of bed. It's going to be that kind of energy.
Oh, I have to add that because that's a really important thing to mention. be aware of that. If you're someone in management, if you're a parent trying to get someone out of bed in the morning, if you're trying to depend on that person to show up for the things, that group project, it ain't going to happen on Monday. So if that's your due date, get it done on the weekend because it's not going to happen on Monday. You're not even going to want to do it on Monday. So don't put yourself a bunch of things to do on Monday because then Tuesday is going to hit you with 1, 2, 3 things. So let's finish strong. Yeah. I know, right? Here we go. We got enough time. We're going to rush it. No, we won't. First, Mercury enters Capricorn. What say you?
So thoughts and communication, we're getting out of exploration and into achievement. So it's kind of a view like the Sag Cap transition as Sag explored, try to investigate new things. They've now articulated their goal, what they want to go after. And so now they'll start being goals articulated. This will be things like just in business, what are going to be our goals for 2023? It's that kind of, there's going to be a lot of goal setting energy starting on Tuesday.
That's okay. We'll do it. Next thing that's going to happen, set your goals, guys, on Tuesday. Next thing, Mercury in Sagittarius. Yes, but squaring off with Jupiter in Pisces.
So does that happen before it moves to Capricorn?
Yes.
Okay. So Jupiter is, that opportunity. Jupiter makes everything bigger. That Pisces is that introspection, it's selflessness. Mercury is communication and that exploration space. So I see this as, maybe what I want to do is kind of conflicting with what would be good for the group, the opportunity for the group. So people are going to kind of speak out kind of unpopular opinions. This might actually get into the goal thing of, people who maybe personally don't feel that the team's goals align with what they want. They'll speak out and kind of push back on that.
Consider censorship. Consider things in that growth of emotions. I like it. I think of a hush puppy. I actually don't know why, but hush puppy comes to mind. And the very last thing that happens on that Tuesday, which opens up that first December week for us guys here on Astrology and Alchemy, is the moon waxing, finally building, and it's so close to being full, so close. The moon waxing into Gemini. What do you see and feel about Gemini energy?
So now we're moving more from that emotional kind of, I think, going back to licking our wounds to now this will be more of an emotional, start reaching out and talking to people about what happened this week and kind of recovering. And so, if you're not hearing from everybody on Monday, by late in the day Tuesday, so it's going to be short-lived. These moon things are always short-lived. Late Tuesday into Wednesday, you'll start hearing from people again. People will start sweeping up the wreckage of this crazy-ass week and start figuring out their path forward.
It's going to be a crazy one. And you guys, if you do want to get some additional guidance and support through these crazy times, be sure and reach out to us on Astrology and Alchemy. We post every day to remind you of how to use and apply these energies. And then also we offer birth chart readings, specific readings, both through Matt and through myself. But then we also do one jointly. So you can check that out. We're going to be doing a bunch of fun holiday specials. And we're going to be here every Tuesday joining you and a friend. Hopefully you join us. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. for Astrology and Alchemy. Right, Matt?
Yes. This will be great. Thursday through, just be careful. Breathe. Don't do anything impulsive because I think Thursday through Sunday, a lot of bad decisions are going to be made.
But we got this. We're doing them together. Bad decisions together. So let's reconvene back on Tuesday next week and see how we all survived.
Yes, absolutely. All
right. Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.